Welcome, my friends, to another edition of More Bad News, brought to you as always by Camel Cigarettes. Take the Camels Challenge, smoke Camels, and see for yourself what a difference Camels can make in your life. Well, my friends, for those of you who have said, I had a student many years ago who took the Camels Challenge. He told me afterwards that on Saturday night, there was a party and he went and he bought a pack of Camels. And he said that it was a horrible mistake, that he lit up and he started smoking it, and he ended up with nausea, vomiting. It ruined the whole night for him. And how could I have recommended that he do that? And I told him, uh, smoking is not something one can do easily. That, of course, everyone experiences nausea. It's very common when you start smoking. You have to actually get past that to enjoy the pleasures of smoking. I remember my first attempts to smoke. I stole cigarettes from my mother's pack and went out in the backyard and hid and smoked. It was a horrible experience. I'm not sure how I made it back into the house, but I was determined to learn how to smoke. It wasn't because my parents smoked. I wasn't trying to be like them. I was trying to be like everybody else. Humphrey Bogart smoked, and so did Mickey Mantle. What killed smoking in America, I think, was the need to promote the idea that it was healthy. Yes, more doctors smoked Camels than any other cigarette. That was true. Everybody smoked. Camels was the most popular cigarette in the country. All doctors, lawyers, carpenters, cab drivers, truckers, everybody. Camels was by far the most popular cigarette sold in America. And people didn't smoke it because it was healthy. The tobacco companies should have admitted that smoking was bad for you and just let it be at that. Sure, tobacco is addictive, but that's not why people smoked. You smoked for all kinds of reasons. I mean, I smoked, preparing for exams, and I smoked mostly with friends and to make friends and with my mother. I mean, smoking was something spiritual. There was never a time that I thought that smoking was good for my health. And I never thought of smoking as a bad habit. I was a smoker. I've known the magic and reaped the rewards of unforgettable moments. And when I think back to the time when more doctors smoked Camels, I remember an exuberant prosperity. I remember dreams of an infinite possibilities of a future, of a counterculture that would replace capitalism with something more loving. I remember everyone dancing in the streets. Now everyone knows that tobacco is bad for you. But as the poet said, give me back the Berlin Wall, give me Stalin and St. Paul. I've seen the future, brother. It is murder. So, my friends, once again, it's been a very difficult week. There's all kinds of news, but I had a piece of news this week that just shook me to the core. My alarm went off. There was an alert, and someone I know, a friend, um, suffering from dementia, that he was wandering about. And it's all right. My mother, my maternal grandmother, was institutionalized with dementia when my mother was first married, and pregnant with her first pregnancy, a pregnancy that in the midst of the Depression she aborted, which nearly cost her life, was because her mother was suffering from dementia, and her younger brother and her mother were living across town, and they were barely making it anyway. And she, and my paternal grandparents were also. They had a little dairy restaurant that went broke, so they had nothing, and so there was all kinds of stress on the family, and it just was not possible to bring another child in. And so my parents decided that they would abort. She nearly died, and she got pregnant immediately afterwards. And that's how my eldest brother, Martin, was born. He died a psychotic, homeless person at the age of 59. My father suffered dementia. He lived into his 80s, but clearly, the last vivid memory I have was spending a weekend in Chicago with my father and my brother, and he was wandering around the house in the middle of the night. I asked him, "Dad, what's going on here?" And he said, "The Malach HaMovis is coming for me." Malach HaMovis is the angel of death. My father was afraid he was dying. Of course, he was. I mean, it was so, and he was afraid to die. Dementia is not just short-term memory loss, and dementia is something that is extremely common among people in their late 70s, early 80s, and 90s. If you're lucky enough to live that long. And so it is something that terrifies me. I have a watch that tells me what my heartbeat is. And I remember when we used to exercise at Planet Fitness a long time ago, that you'd see these young athletes and their heartbeat was like 170, you know, and no matter how much I pushed, today, my heart hardly ever goes over 100. 99. So if I'm really pushing, I just can't get it up anymore. It's age, it's inevitable, you know, and if you're lucky enough to be alive. And I've been thinking all my life, and I still obviously can do one show a week. It's about my speed. And I'm happy and I'm delighted to have these last moments. But it's a one-way street. It's entropy. You're not going to get younger. You're only going to get older. And you know, and for those of us like myself, I'm really glad. I'm just happy. I'm 76. I wouldn't want to be 26. Not now. I feel infinite compassion for the young people today. So that was some of the bad news last week, which I'm going to have to deal with. But I also wanted to talk about the parsha of the week. Okay, so this week, we read the story in the everywhere in the world. The Jews read the same stuff every Saturday. Some of us read more, some of us read less. But this week's story is the story of Dinah, and so I'm gonna. This is very bad news. I'm gonna read this story and just summarize. I'm gonna read the first paragraph and then I'm gonna summarize it. Now Dinah, the daughter of Leah, whom she had born to Jacob, went out to look over the daughters of the land. Shechem, the son of Hamor, the Hivite, prince of the region, saw her, and he took her, he lay with her and violated her. He became deeply attached to Dinah, daughter of Jacob. He loved the maiden and appealed to the maiden's emotions. Doesn't say whether she responded or anything. That's all we know. So Shechem spoke to his father and said, "Take me this girl for a wife." I don't know, I mean, excuse me, young man, you like her, okay? I understand you like her, and so you go to your dad and say, "Take me this girl for a wife." I mean, okay. So the story, that's where the story starts. And then the Jacob's sons go and tell Shechem and his father, "Well, we can work this out, but you have to be circumcised because we don't share our women with uncircumcised men. So, but if you were all circumcised, then sure, you could have Dinah, and you could have other of our women, and we would have some of your women. We would share our women, split our women. Share them around. And then and what the offer was that, look, let's be one tribe. we'll all live together here, and I'm telling you, we'll prosper. Whatever we have be yours. King Saud in Saudi Arabia, he united the kingdom by going around and marrying into all of the different tribes so that they were all family. So that's what they were offering. Let's become family. And so Shechem and Hamor go back and they say, listen, this is the offer we have, and it's a great offer. Let's do it. And so they took them up on the offer, and everybody circumcised themselves. And while they're recovering from the circumcision, Shimon and Levi come and massacre all the men. And then the other brothers come and they kidnap the women and children. This is, by the way, the exact definition of genocide. You kill the men, you steal the children and the women, and you take them into that's genocide. So that's what is being read now. Not a very good lesson, but this week, so in one of the sermons that I heard, it was mentioned that Yehuda Eibeshutz, who was a Talmudist who lived between 1690 and 1764. So he wondered, why did they use this ruse? Why did they want them all to be circumcised? I mean, could have gone and killed them all anyway, whatever. Why this particular thing? And so Eibeshutz was in the 17th century, and he said, well, this was the point. Once they'd all been circumcised, then they were Jews, and nobody would care about Jews killing Jews, or about Jews. No, that's not the way he put it. Nobody would care about Jews being killed. I tell you, that got so close to the bone, man. I gotta tell you. Anyway, so that's so Shabbos was not good news. Shabbos was not good news, and along with that, I just wanted to mention, for those of you who worry about the future of Israel, Israel. Maybe you haven't heard of the Jericho 3. The Jericho 3 is an intercontinental ballistic missile that carries a nuclear warhead. They can fire it to Moscow, to Washington, to Buenos Aires. I mean, nobody knows for sure. But the word on the street is, go ask it on the grapevine, that Israel has maybe 400 warheads. And the strategy is called the Samson strategy. Here's the strategy. The Iran. You want to mess with us? We will destroy you utterly. If ever there is an attack against Israel, which threatens the existence of the state or the existence of the Jewish people, we will launch these fucking missiles and bring you all down. There won't be a house in the Middle East standing. This is this is a way to get along with your neighbors, but we were never able to get along with our neighbors. That was the problem. You can see from the very beginning, we had a problem getting along with our neighbors. So that's more bad news. So someone posted, it was Dave. Yeah, thank you, Dave. By the way, the possibilities of nuclear war. And it's not a possibility, it's probability. I mean, things are not going to get better; they're only going to get worse. So in every way. So I just wanted to bring that up as long as we're facing forward. I had mentioned that Walter Benjamin said that the angel of history, that we don't really see tomorrow. We can't see the future. We only see the past. That's just a fact. Although we can know fairly with fair certainty that our extinction is coming. We can know for fair certainty that the end of our civilization is coming. But we can't know exactly how things are going to proceed. Let's see, was there anything else I wanted to mention? Yeah, no, that was it. Okay, so I made a few notes. Okay, so that's it for this week. I'm sure that that's enough bad news. Thank you all for attending to my videos. It's nice to have an audience, a small audience, and God help me, this is about the size of an audience that I can deal with. I will be back again next week in Yirtzeh Hashem with another edition of more bad news.